Hello YouTube, Rigor here from Rigor's Garage and Boat Basin. Had some questions on the Wellcraft. People are wondering, how do you remove a TRS or a TR drive from the boat? Well, I'm going to tell you. Thanks, I hope you enjoy this little short video, and thanks for watching. So, this is the Wellcraft Excalibur 27, and this is the TRS outdrive. Very stout piece of machinery, capable of handling 600 horse in single applications and 800 in duals. I have a singles and it handles 600, and that's what I've got in it. So, first thing to remove this is to get this manual. Okay, and now this is only on the outdrive. Okay, the outdrive being this part and here, which is this part. Both the transom mount, both the inside and the outside part are covered by this manual. This manual, the part number 90, it's Mercury number 90-12935. You go on eBay and you can get this for $95 from various people. It's well worth the money. Okay, and if you look in here, this is everything you need to know about these outdrives, how to rebuild them, how to take it apart. You know, here, chapter 2, removal, how to remove things. There's everything that talks about on this outdrive. So, in general, this outdrive, to remove the outdrive, first thing you need to know is this thing's heavy. If you're in your 20s, big and probably played football as a lineman, you could probably pick this thing up. Otherwise, you need a couple of people to help you, because this is heavy. First thing, this outdrive is held on several ways. First way is there are 6 bolts here, 1/2-inch bolts, 3 on this side and 3 on this side. Okay, that's the basic mounting for the outdrive. Now, to remove this, notice here, you've got to start first by taking off the hydraulic trim cylinders. Now, you'll take off this bolt. These are nylock bolts, and you'll probably need to replace them when you take them off, so you should have new stainless steel bolts. Next thing is, these are very thick, heavy washers. Nothing unusual about them, but you need to make sure that you have them. So you take this nut off, and there's one over here on the other side, and you lower this down against the ground, and you drive this shaft using a brass rod. You drive the shaft out of the outdrive. Now, in here, there is a rubber bushing here, a rubber bushing here, a rubber bushing here, and a rubber bushing here. On these drives, since they're old, those bushings are hard as a carpet. Okay? So you should buy the 4 bushings, they're all the same, before you take the outdrive off. Now, before you take anything else, you want to put the outdrive in forward. That means you basically, you know, you put it in gear, you squeeze the handle, and you go forward and put the drive in forward, which means this will be locked in gear. Okay? So, put it in forward, put the drive down, take out this bolt. Now, on this particular drive I have right here, a mechanical trim indicator You don't have to take this off, as this will ride with this trim cylinder. Now, on this outdrive, I have external steering. Reason for that, using the internal power steering for the boat, if you go over 45 miles an hour, this boat will chine walk. Chine walk means the boat will sit there and go back and forth like this. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because the drive will sit there and move. Now, if you'll notice, let me show you something. Down here, this drive has a nose cone right here. This is a Bravo nose cone, and this is also a Bravo skeg. That's the newer. And the nose cone is welded on. Normally this is kind of it comes down and just curves over. If you're gonna go above 45 miles an hour, you need this nose cone. So next thing, this is down. You have managed to get this shaft out. On this one, you have to take off these 4 bolts, or these 4 nuts. Well, you have 2 choices. You either take off these 4, or you take off this big one to disconnect the external steering. Okay, now this is a IMCO external steering. It basically, it's a bolt-on piece of equipment that uses, you put a bracket down here and you add on the external steering. If you're gonna go over 45 miles an hour, I highly recommend the external steering with this drive. Put this down, then the next thing is you take off these 6 nuts. There is a gasket in here of which you'll have to replace. And you're going to basically pull the outdrive out. And what happens is this part stays, this comes off, this stays, and you're going to pull the outdrive off, and there is a tail shaft that's about that long that goes into the back of the transmission. In most cases, you will want to drop the nose of the boat or the trailer on the ground. You want this boat nose down. Now, when you put this back in, when you reinstall it, it's a bear. Okay? You're going to sit there and you're trying to try and get the splines. The reason you have this in forward is you're going to need and turn the propeller so that you're turning the nose, basically the tail shaft, as it goes in to the transmission. Okay? You're going to slide this in. The boat will be, this will be high and the nose will be down, and you're going to try and get this into the basically the tailstock on the transmission. And you're going to have to sit there and play with it, okay? And you're going to have to turn the prop, and don't touch anything in the boat, but you're going to have to slide, basically grease up the tailstock or the shaft that comes out of this, and you're going to have to sit there and play with it. There's no other way of doing this. Also, you need to put in new washers. You just do it reverse. Once you get it all the way in, and of course you've already put the new gasket in here, you just do it the reverse order. You put these 6 bolts on. Once you get them on, you put the bolts on loose, and once it's all the way in, you tighten it up, and then you put on in this case the external steering, and you put on the trim cylinders. But it's going to take, normally I have a friend with a hoist. You're going to need something to hold this. If you notice right on top here, if you can see this right here, that's a lifting eye. Okay? See that hole right there? Get a engine hoist or something to help you put this back on. Otherwise you put a hook here, put a bolt in it, you know, something. It's right here to help hold this drive while you're trying to put it in. This is, like I say, this is probably, I'd bet it's 250 pounds trying to put this drive. But that's normally what I do, is I sit there and I use a hoist from, you know, if you got a boat, you got to have friends, and like somebody at a marina, and you put the hoist here and use this to pick it up. Otherwise, you need some guys. You could also use an engine hoist that you rent to put the drive back on. Other things about the drive, let's see. This is, believe it or not, there is, this could be a trim sender on this boat. The wires aren't used because I have a mechanical. The boat was built with a mechanical indicator. Same thing goes for the trim fins, the trim tabs right here. This is mechanical sender. That's just the way the boat was built. And of course the ever popular mufflers. Let's see here. Now, things that go wrong, you have to have the ground wires in here. I don't know if you can see this wire. Grounding, there is a grounding modification. You've got to have ground wires for, you got to ground this to this, this to this, this to the inside, and ground it to the engine. Everything on this has to be grounded, or you have corrosion problems. Also, notice there's a plug here. This is a modification. If you got to do something on a bearing, there is a Mercury modification for these, where you bore a hole. I think both sides. You tap this and you put plugs in. That was done in the past. I've got plugs on both sides. That has to do with the tinkering with the bearing, getting access. If you have to take this collar off, you've got to have this, and that's a modification from the original. Other common problems, bellows. Inside here is a bellows that keeps the water out of the boat. It goes around, there's basically a watertight seal between the drive and the mount right here and the boat, and there's a bellows down there. You always have to check this bellows down in here. It's underneath. You have to look for cracks, and about every 5 years you got to replace the bellows, which is always exciting. But that's all in the book. Like I say, most important thing, everything for working on this drive is in this book. Now, if you got problems with the Velvet Drive transmission that's in here, that's a Borg Warner or something. It's called the Velvet Drive. That's a separate book, and that's in the engine part of the boat. Well, that was one question that I gave you the answer. How do you take the outdrive off a TRS outdrive? How do you take it off? Other question I had, I think this came from my sister, but what's has 6 wheels and flies? Well, since 6th grade, everybody's known that. It's a garbage truck. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.